Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about return statements. So basically, return statements are what we use to return or end a function. So if you wanted to stop a function from running, or if you wanted to stop a function runtime, you could basically do that using a return statement. Or else the function is just going to run until every single step in the function has been executed. So let's just say we had a random function. So we had an if else statement. And our if else statement just had something that was going to always be true. Okay. And then we have our return statement. Just keep that empty. And we were, let's say, setting a variable. And random text. So in this case, this function never gets to our random uh, set variable step because there's a return statement in our conditional, in our if else block, right? Because this is always going to be true. So this is going to run. So basically, this example just shows that the return statement ends a function's execution. So let's just test this out real quick. I'm just going to return the text boy. I'm going to save this, deploy. This function is connected to an API, so I'm going to pull up Postman. We're going to ping the API, and as you can see, we have our response boy. So basically, what happened here was that the function ran. We get into the first block, which is a conditional if else statement. Our conditional is true. We get into our if else block. We have a return statement. So the function ends there, right? And this could be used in many different ways. You could have functions that just return data, as maybe the only step. Maybe we just return the parameter. And let's say the parameter is sample. That's it. This function just returns whatever was passed into it in this case. So, see the TLDR, basically the sum total, is that we use the return statements similar to how we use it in traditional programming as a means to return something or return some data, or return something for our function, or we just use it to end the transaction. So in some cases, you might want to just set the return to an empty string as a means to, let's say, end or prevent a function from running. A perfect example of that could be, let's just get back our if else statement. Let's say we were doing some kind of validation, and let's say we were looking to see if perhaps an entry existed, right? Let's say our sample existed, so we're just checking to see if it exists, right? Or we could let's say in this example we're just checking to see if it doesn't exist. Let's say false, right? So let's say we wanted to use the sample parameter in our function, but it wasn't provided. So let's say this is a bad function. We could just simply return and then have our logic that has to do with sample after this. So what happens is that it checks and says, hey, do I have the sample? Is that parameter, is it provided? And if it's not, I'm just going to end the function here. But if it is, we're going to keep going. And maybe what I want to do here is that let's say I want to slice our sample. I want to slice it. So of course, if let's say the data was not present or it wasn't the accurate type, this might throw an error, where our function might not run properly. And that might break maybe some experience that we have in our application. So we use the return statement here to just prevent our function from proceeding beyond this step. In this case, our if else block is basically just a validation step. All right. So that's it about return statements. You use them on the in-house cloud platform the same way you would use them if you were writing code. You can look up documentations about return statements over the internet. This is a standard across pretty much any programming language, and in this case with no code, we basically used it, or brought this familiar concept uh, to basically enable uh, you accomplish the same objectives that you would have accomplished if you were writing code. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you. See you in the next one.